Yo! Welcome, everyone, to Splatoon Tourney 1 featuring the CCA League. This is Vapor here on the mic with Raphael, and we're going to have a really amazing set tonight here.
Yeah, for sure. I hear it's Night Sharks versus, is that MSU tonight?
Yeah, we have the Night Sharks out of the University of Central Florida going up against the Michigan State University's Firefin Couches. This is their varsity team, and they put the wrong person on spectator, so we'll get to that here in a moment, but...
Been there before. I've accidentally put the wrong teammates together before.
Yeah, so we'll get to that in a moment. But while we wait for everything, let's look at what these teams have done in the past. See what they have. And from the University of Central Florida, Night Sharks, they're going on a 2-0 record throughout the season.
Yeah, 2-0 record. So I presume that means we're in week 4. So does that mean they've had to reschedule 2 of their games already? They're going to be having a tough reschedule week, but 2-0 is nothing to trifle with right now, seeing as both of those, they won 4-0.
Yeah.
Plus, second place overall of Season 2 Div 1, that's nothing to scoff at. This team knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And then you also have Billy. They were on the first CCA team, the all CCA first team last season in Season 2 for Night Sharks. So that's something you can't be mad about either. You have a very strong player up onto one of the best teams in CCA, like what your fantasy all-star team, I guess you could say. And what else do you really want from them, you know?
Right. An accomplished player, they have a good record under their belt. I know last time I was casting them, everyone was excited to see Billy. Everyone was getting all, chat was going off. Billy is no player to be trifled with. I'm sorry, my display is really fuzzy here. Let me plug into my Ethernet real quick.
Yeah, well, while you do that, let's start talking a little bit about the other side. MSU Firefin Couches out of Michigan State University. They're also 2-0, but had a little bit closer sets. Rescheduled in week 1, but got a 4-1 over Wormwind and a 4-2 over HU Volatile Radiance in weeks 2 and 3, respectively. Ended up Division 1 last season and made gold bracket in entrance exam. But the biggest thing to look out for is that this is a rematch from entrance exam, and probably our first major rematch result we have had throughout this entire season, where MSU got a 2-1 victory in that entrance exam event.
So yeah, a little bit of a salty sweet going on here almost, Maybe a little rivalry we're going to see out tonight. I think it's also just funny to note that both teams have had to reschedule 2 of their matches so far. So, wait, 1 of their matches. I'm sorry, we're in week 4?
Yes.
Well, that's not important. We're seeing game 1 starting off on the side of MSU. We see that ZNF Charger. We see that Nautilus. Nautilus is a really underrated weapon right now. Really goes under the radar, but that is a strong weapon, and honestly, I think that kid is better than people give it credit for. We're going to see both teams roll out to mid, kind of just holding down their positions, and the first pick goes to Firefin Couches. I'm sorry, that is MSU. The first pick goes to Night Sharks, and that ZNF is following right up. He's already moving onto that tower, getting a triple. Really good. Oh, wow. And specials coming right out of him, too, clearing that plat. That first check is going down, too, as Night Sharks plows into MSU's territory. What do you have to say about that, Vapor?
Night Sharks, they're not just plowing, they find the wipeout on that as well. Stamper pushing up, trying to find control. Chargers are right above them, and it's just sharking right beneath everyone's feet, right below the ledge, ends up going down, and it's going to be the Nautilus finding a pick there. Only the Tenatech last one alive on the side of the Night Sharks, and they end up going down. That's being toast on the 10 attack to Chef on this Nautilus. And that's a really explosive early push here by the Night Sharks.
For sure, for sure. Unfortunately, you know, Toast was trying to retreat, trying to maintain that presence in mid before Night Sharks MSU could come back, but he was toast. Now it doesn't look like it worked out for MSU. Night Sharks actually bounced back a lot quicker than I had expected them to. They have that mid locked down and secure. They're taking those angles, looking for picks, and they're finding them with the numbers advantage 2-1 down on MSU. Night Sharks is pulling out their specials. They're getting that tower rolling again. They're getting into that plat. Really nice pincer between the tri-strike and those from Night Sharks pushing MSU's plat. MSU is finding themselves in a corner again.
Yeah. The machine here, Sandy, trying to find a pick on the Zipcaster that ends up staying alive and recalls. Splash goes down, 2 going down to the Nautilus. Sandy finds 1. It's only the Stamper last alive, and they end up going down as well. Full wipe on the side of the Night Sharks, and MSU trying to take control back here in mid is starting to make a forward push. Sandy and Chef pushing up this left side. Sandy ends up backing to that right side. Nautilus still here on the left, going up the slick, trying to find the pick onto the Stamper, but decides, yeah, now let's back out here for a little bit.
Yeah, disengaging, giving the space they need. They don't want to force that interaction or else they're just going to go down. Naught's a really important midline to keep active too with how much pressure it puts out. We see that Naught getting a nice double, getting themselves out of a corner. That leader that ZNF going down. It looks like the Firefin captors are finally going to get their first push really rolling here.
Yeah, ZNF finds 1. They're going to take this first checkpoint. Stamper trying to make a play and slow down the members of the Firefin couches from pushing up. Here comes those tri-strikes, 1 down on each side. Zipcaster towards the tower. Nick is in trouble, ends up going down, and the checkpoint has not been broken yet. It's only Sandy, last one alive for MSU, and they're forced all the way back. But hey, they got the first checkpoint, 1 checkpoint per push. They got a checkpoint there, and it's worth it.
Right, unfortunately they didn't get as much mileage out of that as they would have wanted. But that first checkpoint really, you know, like those checkpoints really slow down your push. It's really important to keep that momentum going, but when the checkpoints just stall in one place, without that first one out of the way, it's going to be a lot easier for them to snowball the next push. Unfortunately, they were just a hair away from getting checkpoint 2, as we saw.
Oh, sharking in the corner. Sandy decides to jump out. That would have been a really good shark too. I don't think they knew Sandy was right there exactly. Storm out from Chef. Nick getting onto that tower. Booyah Bomb getting held, and here comes this Nautilus up into your backs. This is what you don't want to see if you're the Night Sharks, and you are able to punish that very easily. It's going to be Nifty going around the backside, finds an assist onto the tower user. Sandy trades out with Nifty, and it's only the Charger versus the Shot, last one up front. Shot's able to win that, but everyone else is coming from respawn. Here comes those tri-strikes.
Firefin couchers are definitely going to want to take this one slow. They're scattered right now. They don't have a strong position, but they're trying to get past that checkpoint. That's all they want right now so that they can bring momentum further next time. Unfortunately, again, they do not find it, and they're forced to abandon the push. It looks like we see their T-Tech, their machine was trying to get back into plat, trying to push Nitrox back, but unfortunately he was going in without much backup. And Firefin couchers are just trickling into Night Shark's reach right now. They're getting desperate with that timer ticking down, and unfortunately they were not able to keep their push going. Game 1 going to the Night Sharks. Really, that was such an explosive beginning. I honestly was surprised we didn't see a knockout coming from Night Sharks, but what do you think that could foreshadow going into the rest of the set, Vapor?
If you're MSU, you want to be able to shut down Night Sharks early. We saw that explosive early push from them, and you don't want that to happen again. If you're on the side of MSU, you have to slow them down, play a little bit slower, even give them space, let them make the mistake, let them come at you.
Definitely. If you let them, you know, it's like the philosophy with getting the first crab popped off in mid. Whenever when that first special gets popped in mid, I'm fumbling for words here. I'm so sorry. But it creates a lot of momentum for the aggressing team. But if you target that crab user and take them out before their first special even comes out, then that sets you up for a much better opening push.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what MSU is going to want to achieve here with Night Sharks. We saw how strong they are on opening, but MSU did find their footing towards the middle of that match. Maybe we aren't even going to see such an explosive first push coming out of Night Sharks this time.
Yeah, Night Sharks have the aggression, and it shows in the results these past few weeks. That they've been able to get some quick 4-0s and getting an early game here. They're playing without Billy, who got into the All CCA team last season. So that's another thing to just show how strong this lineup can be.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, like, we have some of the top teams from the top division here. This is like top level collegiate Splatoon. None of these players really are, none of them are anything to laugh at. They are forces to be reckoned with. And I think that game one definitely showed us as far as Night Sharks is concerned, but I think MSU could still very well stake their claim going into the rest of this. Let's see what they pull out on game two here.
Hoken pulling out that Stamper once more. Nick on the other side with a Stamper themselves, and not much of a change except we see Nifty going onto those Splat dualies this time.
Yeah, so what weapon did he have pulled out last time? I want to say it was Splash, but that might just be the that might be a little Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, I feel like those dualies are a bit different, but I don't exactly know what changed outside. Nick trying to pull around this left glass area anyway, though, and it's going to be the Charger finding a really sneaky shot onto them. 3 down on the side of MSU, and they're going to try to make this first push towards this left side checkpoint.
Definitely. Firefin couches, they're going to need to be careful here. We saw that in that last game, especially towards the end. They were getting desperate. They were trickling in one by one. We aren't going to want to see that happen again, because if they get staggered now, Wahoo is such a snowball-y map. We see they're 2 down already. This T-Tech here holding their ground, not trying to force the fight. They do, however, go after that Rainmaker. They get picked off, and Nitrox is going to push all the way up to 30 before going down. Now we have a 1v1 situation between the two Stampers. Nick here going to try and pop that Rain. Leave it for a reset. Get that Stamper out of their own spawn here. That leaving Rainmaker like that could be really dangerous for Firefin couches here. If it's unattended, Nitrox could very easily sneak past 30, but they don't get to it, it resets, and Firefin couches are going to have to really play the slow game here. They aren't going to want to rush in one by one as we've seen them doing a couple times this set.
Trying to pop this Rainmaker is Nick. Booyah Bomb getting popped from underneath the bridge. There's 2 members down there. Watch Ender trying to make a play, but ends up backing off it just a little bit. Nick going down once more. Hoken underneath trying to keep the bottom area of this stage cleared. And it's going to be Chef going down to that crab that ends up dropping off from Nifty. Rainmaker not picked up by any team, and MSU has yet to find a way to take out anyone on the side of the Night Sharks, and going down to a suction bomb does not help it.
Definitely. I mean, Firefin, they haven't even pushed past 100 yet, and it looks like Night Sharks, they're getting their presence set up in mid. They're getting those specials off. Stamper trying to go for a flank there, trying to pick off that Rainmaker, slow down that momentum, but unfortunately he doesn't find it. Night Sharks is getting set up right in that elbow again, and they are going for as many points as possible. That almost a KO too. Now they've set themselves up in a good position. The Rainmaker does go down, but if they... Oh, okay, well, never mind.
Multiple jumps are right there. Booyah Bomb! Trying to find the pick with that Booyah Bomb, unable to find any. There are so many jumps there. It's so dangerous for MSU right now. Everyone of Night Sharks is just right there ready to pounce on them, but they're able to clear out just a little bit longer. Nick Ender pushing up, trying to find ways to take back space. 2 down on each side here.
Definitely. Firefin Couch is opting to hold for respawns. It looks they're getting, they're holding down that glass. A really nice tri-strike, smoking them all out of that from Night Sharks, smoking MSU out of that glass. They're just gonna have to hold. They're forced to hold their ground in mid, wait for their team to respawn and come back in. Unfortunately, the bomb finds a pick on Nick there, and MSU really just can't get any momentum rolling. They're going to be forced to rush that Rainmaker forward to try and at least keep Firefin off their tails.
Toast able to find one on the flank, going down to Nick from behind out of spawn. Trying to keep control of the plat. The bridge ends up going down. Rainmaker gets picked off, but MSU still needs to find a way to move in. Here comes that Booyah Bomb from Sandy. 2 down on the side of the Night Sharks. Toast going down. This is the chance for MSU. You need to find that checkpoint and soon, but you don't know where anyone from Night Sharks are. You don't want to die to the Charger. Hoken with that Zipcaster. Rainmaker does get the checkpoint. Hoken goes down. This is advantage MSU trying to make a play. We have 20 seconds left of regulation.
MSU is not going to want to back off now. This is the make or break play of the game. We see that they're pushing that ZNF. They're getting it out of sights of the Rainmaker. But unfortunately, the Crab Tank from Night Sharks Dualies finds a pick on 3 of them. And it looks like this might be game for MSU. No, we see Nick clutching up, getting the pick. He had the jumps in, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to get all of Night Sharks off of his teammates' landings. And that is game 2 going to Night Sharks once again.
Night Sharks are able to have the aggression. They're having a lot of suppression throughout as well, and it's just so much where MSU is struggling to push in at all.
Definitely, we saw Night Sharks, once they set themselves up, not even once they set themselves up, they just consistently had a really good tenure of that middle platform, a middle high ground in Wahoo, and they controlled their angles, they watched their flanks, they did not let MSU get past them. MSU is definitely going to want to try and think about what they could do to get Night Sharks out of position going forward. I know the Zipcaster on Nick Stamper is going to be a really invaluable asset to them, forcing their backlines to just turn around entirely and take their eyes off of mid.
Yeah. You have to watch out, especially for your backline players. We're on the smaller map now in Mako Mart, and our Army has been saving and controlling that backline space for the Night Sharks so far, where it's just like, it's so hard for them to push forward for MSU. You have to be able to get Nick and your Zipcaster to go find that Charger from Army and move them out of the way before you could do anything else.
Right. It's honest. It's tricky to try and find. It's tricky to strategize around Zipcaster sometimes too. Sometimes it creates such a small opening. Sometimes you'll zip behind enemy lines, but their Charger just flicks and shoots your landing, shoots the point that you're grappling to. We saw that happening a lot today in the PAX championship with Kyo even. But if you play around it correctly, that type of special coordination is a really good way to try and get some of that pressure off of the site you're trying to push.
A little bit of change-ups here. Sandy going over to that Tri-Slosher, and Nifty back to that Splash-O-Matic. You still have that Crab Tank, but you lose those dodge rolls. Moving up early here, though. Nifty trying to take control of this, so right stack pushing Ender all the way back, keeping control and using that perfect RNG to just shoot them down, beam them down, and it's already advantaged Night Sharks even as trades go down. And there's another one for Nifty going around this back side and going back to the stack, finds another pick. Nifty popping off early on here.
For sure, a really good opening streak. I really like the way they controlled that stack. They wanted to get themselves set up in it, and they didn't go any further. Now, unfortunately, we do see Firefin wiping out Night Shark's momentum relatively early, not finding as many points as they would have liked to score probably, and it looks like MSU is gearing up for a push of their own. We see them, they're popping those specials, really nice strike covering that basket area. And they find a double on Night Sharks. They're really going to be able to push their momentum off of this. It looks like Nick is set up on Night Sharks high ground, and that's lead going to Firefin Couches. That is... Oh, they missed the power clam, unfortunately. That would have been a really nice 20 points to tack onto their score there. It looks like Night Sharks has reestablished their presence by their basket, and they're rolling back out to mid slowly but surely.
Tri-Slosher getting a trade there with Toast on that 10 attack. Crab is ready to go for Nifty once more, trying to watch the opposing 10 attack on that left side. Here comes that Crab, trying to find a pick and finds Ender, but the Kraken not able to get up the wall, ends up going down. That's 3 down on the side of Firefin Couches, and Night Sharks are just holding this control right now. This is the biggest thing that Night Sharks do so well. They're able to get control and hold it for an extensive period of time, where MSU hasn't been able to get that much control for as long as Night Sharks have been able to. More points going in the board. Nifty finding one, ends up trading out. Points going to stop here, but the damage has been done.
For sure. Firefin Couches finally thought they finally found something there. They finally found themselves in the lead, but unfortunately Night Sharks just hit back even harder, bringing it all the way down to 22. Now Nick, no, that's Hoken finding a nice pick on right flank right there. It looks like both teams are kind of just duking it out in mid. A lot of fighting going on in different angles of the map here.
Definitely. Chef with that 96 gal now. Kraken ready to go. Trying to hold this left stack, and Nifty trying to rush up. Kraken getting forced out and trying to work with the team here. Create some space as you can. Hoken goes down, unable to find another, but that is one major pick for MSU, but they keep going multiple down right as they have an opportunity. Sandy holding this right stack though, finding Nifty, able to make a play, but they just need to hold this map control as much as they can. All these specials are zoning them out, making it very hard for them to push.
For sure. If you're Firefin Couches right now, you're going to want to play this carefully. You don't want to go down here. The timer ticking down. Now they find a triple on Night Sharks, 3 going down. They're going to gear in for the second push, and they're going to want to play it carefully. They have the clams to take lead, but they're going to want to try and draw that out as much as they can. They might even be able to get KO here. Really nice specials going off, keeping Night Sharks off their tail, keeping that basket area open, and they're going to find themselves 1 clam short of being able to get that knockout. 2 clams short, actually. And unfortunately, they do not get that counter down to 0. But Firefin Couches is very much in this game. That might just be the break they needed. With 1 minute left on the clock, if they play their defenses right, they can keep Night Sharks out of that space, away from their basket. We've seen they've struggled to do that up until this point, but maybe this is going to be the turnaround for them.
Oh, Nick trying to make a really strong play there. Toast able to go in, find the 2. Moving up on this right side. Power Clam getting held by Army. Throwing it into the basket. Here comes those tri-strikes, and this can be a very dangerous push if MSU has nothing to say about it. 2 down. That's 3 down. Is only Hoken under the basket with no clams ready to go. Diving in, finds 1 clam in, ends up going down, but there's no additional follow-up. The Night Sharks need to find a power clam, and there's only 8 seconds left as they build one.
Yeah, 5 seconds left on the clock. Night Sharks was able to grab a power clam and getting a wipe on MSU. It looks like they're going to rush at that basket. This may very well be game going to Night Sharks in overtime.
No,
they don't have enough
they missed.
to get that
Nifty
down.
missed clams, and from the side it's going to be the Stamper. I'm pretty sure that was able to score in the clams last second, saving Nifty from those missed shots, able to take this 3rd game.
Oh, that's got to sting for sure if you're Firefin Couches right now. So close within reach of getting that first win in the set, but losing it to overtime clams. Oh, that in such a last minute push. It was really well put together by Night Sharks for sure. The way they got that crab set up and right, that just denied Firefin Couches so much space around their basket that they couldn't adequately defend all the incoming clams.
Yeah, and that was Toast actually getting those final clams into the basket. So, man, Toast came in clutch there, going in onto the box, throwing those clams in. Use what you have on the map to your advantage, and Night Sharks definitely did there.
Absolutely. What do you think MSU is going to have to do if they want to try and turn around this? Because their Night Sharks is at match point. I still think MSU is more than capable of putting up a fight, but they would have to reverse sweep if they want to take the set.
Yeah. I feel like MSU just has to play a little bit more skirmish heavy and play more aggressive and around the map. MSU is always right there. They're always staying in mid, trying to hold places, but if someone gets around them, a lot of them just end up pulling back and goes after that one person. They don't want people behind them, but with that distraction, that allows everyone else from Night Sharks to move up.
Definitely a little more game awareness, just being aware of what interactions to take and when to take them, and, you know, where your enemies are on the map would go a long way for MSU right now. I think that I'm thinking we're probably going to see the same comp out of them. It's going to be Splat Zones, Flounder Heights, actually. So maybe we'll. This is the first time Splat Zones have popped up in this set yet, actually. So maybe we might see some comp changes, especially to take advantage of that unique geometry on Flounder here. But I think we're going to see weapons like Nick and Hoken's Stamper are going to be a lot stronger on this map, where they can go in from different angles, especially that Zipcaster being able to like get right into AC on top of your snipe. That's a really strong position to take whenever you're trying to get your enemy on lockout. We see tries coming out of both teams here, actually, instead of the typical Stamper. So really interesting decision. Try Nouveau is... I have underestimated that weapon, I will admit. I'm excited to see how it takes advantage of the height fall off on Flounder Heights.
Yeah, Hoken switching off the Stamper to the Try, and it's going to be Nick switching off the Stamper to the Z plus F. So that's going to be very interesting to look out for. Sandy going up this wall after 3 of their teammates end up going down. That's going to be a delayed wipe on the side of MSU, and this is what you don't want to see it. If you're on the Firefin couches, Fizzy Bombs getting thrown out from the cubby there, Tacticooler getting popped out as well, and especially on Flounder, once the offensive team gets control, it's so hard to take back. You need to get multiple down, which is what MSU has right now, but they need to take advantage of it. They're able to neutralize this first zone, but are they able to get this second zone?
It looks like they might be. It was a really nice chained tri-strike here, and they're getting those jumps coming in from Night Sharks. Unfortunately, they can't cap zone yet, and they go down to the splash. With the numbers advantage flipped to Night Sharks, MSU is able to flip zone, which is all they really needed right here, but they're going to have to regroup if they want to bring this any further. It looks like they're establishing their control in mid really, really good. This might be the momentum they need, but they've burnt all their specials already. And Tri-Strikes coming in from Night Sharks, pushing them out of that garden, pushing them off that zone. It looks like we're going to see the match go into a neutral phase here again.
Yeah,
Night Sharks really trying to layer on the pressure.
Chef going down, 1 down on each side, and 2 people jumping away. Jumping out, and it's going to be Chef in this trench. But watch Ender underneath, able to find Nifty from below, but another one's right below them. That's Toast. Tri-Strike's coming out, neutralizing the zone. Toast is just holding this far side and the bottom mid as strong as they possibly can. Kraken trying to go to the other zone, but Toast is just taking a 1v2 and ends up getting neutral fights there or winning them.
Definitely. Like, they were skirmishing around for a while and getting away with it too. They're still on a hot streak here. And we see them using those specials to really cement their lockout. They're all up in MSU's ramp now, all up in their street. It's going to be really hard for MSU to break past that, especially with 20 left on the clock. Finding a pick on that Tri-Strike user and the splash, it looks like MSU's tries is going to go around. They're making their play on zone. They're getting that tack out. They have those jumps in. If they're able to cap zone here with those Tri-Strikes coming in, they're able to stall it at the very least. They're really going to need to capitalize off of that. And unfortunately, Night Sharks gets 3 down on MSU. They take 3 out, and that is game 4, and the set going to Night Sharks. Really, really good play coming out of that team tonight. Really dominating the competition. Man, what do you have to say about that last game, Paper?
Man, like, just flat out, and that's what you were worried about most if you're MSU. You don't want Night Sharks to take that early advantage, and that's exactly what they did. They took the early advantage. They were able to get a lot of points up on that board early, and it was so hard to come back from there. They were able to take zone a few times, but they were only on their zone for the most part. It seems like we're going to play all 7 throughout, but the Night Sharks are dominant. Last time MSU was able to get a 2-1 win over them in entrance exam, but Night Sharks just proved their dominance this time around, getting a 4-0, continuing their streak with yet dropping a game through the season.
Talk about a way to redeem yourself from that. Talk about a way to redeem yourself in that rematch for sure. But yeah, we still have 3 games left on the table here, and they could still go either way. I mean, we've seen that Night Sharks has consistently been able to keep MSU in lockout, but I don't know. I mean, maybe MSU, maybe they're still hiding something under their sleeve, hiding something up their sleeve. Maybe 4 games of getting beaten. That might be, they might just needed the download. Maybe they're figuring out some patterns and Night Sharks going on here. I know for sure if they're gonna want to be able to stop that momentum, I don't know. I mean, they're really going to need to play around Night Shark's special coordination. We saw the way they were chaining those tri-strikes, chaining those crabs and everything in the games leading up to this point. And that can be a tough thing to beat sometimes, especially as far as the mental game goes. I know whenever, you're down 3-0 and Night Sharks has that mega lead, right off their first push like we saw in that game on Flounder just now, that can be a hard thing to overcome mentally. But it's all about keeping a cool head, making sure you're playing the most tactfully in what's coming up next.
Yep, we're going to get into game 5 here. Set is over. It is in Night Sharks' favor, but we're going to play it all out because we can. Let's have some fun here, figure out some practice strategies. Hoken switching over to that Rapid Blaster Deco, which is honestly something you don't really see too often nowadays.
Definitely not, but I think at the very least it is a fun weapon to play. Similar poking style to that Stamper that we saw them on earlier. And we're seeing 2 go down on Night Sharks. MSU has the numbers advantage right off the bat. But they aren't able to capitalize off of it too much. Tri-strikes coming out of Night Sharks T-Tech was going to slow them down originally, but it looks like MSU actually does find 2 more picks on the side of Night Sharks. They're getting at the very least past that first checkpoint, which is huge in setting them up for their later pushes.
MSU on the download jumps coming in. They're able to find that first checkpoint, and that's going to be a full wipe onto MSU. Stopped by the Night Sharks, able to take control back of mid and trying to make a push of their own. Tech trying to push up here with Nifty, throwing out their strikes. Inkjet out from Hoken. Sandy trying to find a way to go around through mid, but it's getting shut down by everyone. They can't really push up through the side there, but everyone else on the side of MSU is going down. Sandy's the last one, and they ended up jumping back, throwing out that Booyah Bomb 2 tower, but that checkpoint's going to go down.
Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately for Firefin, Night Sharks found that checkpoint. They're getting it all the way up to the 3rd. Firefin struggling to get momentum out of their fighting here. They have Night Sharks 96 kind of dancing around the tower like that, and they get the pick on the jump in too. Firefin couches rolling back out to mid here, and they have their specials. They're gonna need to use those wisely if they want to keep their momentum rolling here.
Chef.
Finding the pick on the jump.
Yeah, catches that jump off guard, finding the pick here. Chef trying to make a play and push up, trying to help out Sandy, but it's going to be right around the wall. Army can't get by this Army after all. has that tri-strikes ready, but goes down to a splat bomb right behind them from Ender.
And it looks like MSU is setting up for another push of their own. They're getting those tri-strikes out, using them to move forward. Unfortunately, tri-strikes from Night Sharks getting behind MSU's front line take out 2 of them. Really, really well-placed strikes there, and it forces Firefin Couch's E-leader further back. They get picked trying to hold down that tower too, and Night Sharks finds the pick on the jumped tower as well.
3 members down on the side of MSU. Army on this tower. Tri-strikes ready. Here comes the tri-strikes from the 10 tech as well from Nifty. Toast and Nifty trying to make a play and push up with this tower. Army with those tri-strikes ready to go ends up going down. Kraken getting popped out. From behind is going to be Chef. Nifty ends up going down. Bomb unable to find anyone, but this tower just stopped short of that 3rd checkpoint. Once more unable to get any points off it. Charger goes down once again. Here comes that whale from Chef, trying to make a play, rushing this 96 gal, able to find the pick there onto Toast, and moving up, finds the Rapid as well. This is a rampage here with Chef, finding 3. Last one jumps out, but ends up going down to a bomb. This is still a huge push opportunity.
Definitely. I mean, Chef just got a really good triple right there, and it looks like the Firefin Couches are really getting some mileage off of it, finally breaking through that 2nd checkpoint they've been struggling to. And with the tri-strikes coming out of Night Sharks, though, forcing them off tower right before they got to that 3rd check, their machine is going to be forced to back up to mid, and less than a minute left on the clock here. It's looking rough for Firefin Couches if they want to turn things around.
They saw someone drop on that right side, but the E-leader right in front of them can't see that one. Nick finding a pick onto Army. Tri-strikes getting popped out, trying to slow down MSU. Sandy caught stuck in the corner, ends up going down. Inkjet from Hoken trying to find a pick onto the Charger, turns towards Chef. Chef finds the pick onto the Inkjet. Ender finding up front as well, but not before the Kraken is popped. One going down, trying to avoid this Kraken is Nick, but right as the Kraken expires, Nick staying alive. Toast is still around the corner, finds the pick onto the Charger anyways, and ends up getting multiple down on the side of MSU. These tri-strikes are going to close it out, and Night Sharks taking another game here.
Sure, those tri-strikes making sure nobody touched the tower but the Night Sharks themselves. Really good. It was honestly a really good Kraken they used at the end there too, because it looked like MSU was really gearing up for some more forward momentum of their own. But once that Kraken went out in mid, that just shut them down. They had to respect that. They had to pay attention to it, and they couldn't just push forward as they were hoping. And Firefin Couches could not just go forward like they were hoping they could.
Yeah, they were just stopped short every single time. Night Sharks are able to get themselves established where they want to push, where MSU, they're able to find a way to push up, but they're unable to establish themselves every single time. They end up always going one down where it's most important to them.
Definitely. They were falling just short of, getting past those thresholds, getting past those checkpoints. Yeah, I mean, for one thing, I would really like to shout out the special coordination we're seeing coming out of Night Sharks that time. I really like the way they were just chaining those tri-strikes. Like one tri-strike puts out a lot of pressure on its own, but then if you pull out one and then you put out another right after, it's just 6 tri-strikes going off after each other. That's really oppressive for your opponent.
Yeah, it's so hard to fight multiple tri-strikes at once, and man, every tri-strike that runs at you, you just have to back up right away. You can't really fight it at all. You just have to paint through it as much as you can, make sure no one follows through with it, make sure you hold as much space as you can, and that's very hard to do alone.
Definitely. At some point, you really do just have to back off and respect it. Let them get that mileage off of their specials and then set up to take them out as they try to push forward after it. We were seeing that last week with, I believe, it was Wormwind versus was it? I don't remember who their opponent was, but their opponent was no, you know, that's irrelevant now. That I digress. I digress. We have another game starting here. This is going into game 6. And let's see. Pulling out the Tin Umbrella. Hogan pulling out the Tin Umbrella. Really interesting pick. I am a big Tin Umbrella enjoyer myself. Let's see what they get gearing up here on Rainmaker Museum Alfonsino.
Yeah, not just the Tin Umbrella, but we see that Zap 89 as well. We don't see that too often in comp, but those super chumps can definitely try to zone out area and use them as a little body shield type thing. Sandy ends up getting a pick of there, but that's going to be 3 down on the side of MSU. This first checkpoint going early to the Night Sharks, finding 2 behind this Tin Umbrella shield is going to be nifty though. Crab Tank ready to go play for life here, popping that crab and trying to zone out as many members as possible. Rainmaker getting picked up, rushing as far as they can with Army. Going to get stopped by Ender, but we're only a minute in. First checkpoint's gone, plus a lot more.
Again, we see Night Sharks with the really strong opening momentum. Now, Firefin finds a wipe on their... No, that's Night Sharks wiping Firefin again. I'm sorry. And they're getting those... They have that vac setup, that hint setup right behind the Rainmaker. They're bringing it further. They're in for round 2. Now here we find Firefin wipe out Night Sharks. They're picking up that Rainmaker, bringing it back to mid, not letting Night Sharks get themselves set back up here. Really good play coming out. Nice try strikes, clearing out that ramp, opening up the area before the pedestal, but unfortunately I don't think they have the resources required to follow it up yet. And here they are coming in. They're finding their way past that first checkpoint finally.
Able to go 3 down on the side of MSU, fighting another pick, and they're trying to stay alive, but gets picked off by Hoken on that Tin Umbrella. Throwing out that shield towards mid, tried to cover a little bit of pain, place down those beacons. We can use those to jump a little bit later on.
Definitely, it's good to make sure you have your beacons set up. You never know when you might need them. And at the very least, sometimes if you check your map, they do still reveal that enemy's location. Now we see that Tin Umbrella getting set up, getting that canopy out, and pulling out the vac. Night Sharks finding a wipe on Firefin couches. They're really getting some forward momentum here, bringing that deep into the pedestal. And that is not knockout. Chef finds the pick on the Rainmaker right as they dump, and they get a triple on Night Sharks. MSU is still in the game here, folks.
It was on the pedestal as well. That's the biggest thing. Try to find those beacons, but the Rainmaker was on the pedestal. That should have been a knockout, but it just wasn't. Really good play by the Firefin couches, just stopping that just short. Finding one with Storm. It's going to be Chef on this Nautilus. Throw out those sensors, trying to find where those opponents are. Push up this Rainmaker. Sandy able to find an assist there, but this crab team is going to slow them extremely far slowly.
Definitely. It looks like that Rainmaker was able to hold their ground though. Their timer is ticking down. They're about to blow up, so it looks like they're going for points, bringing it as far forward as they can, especially with only 2 up on their team. They're gonna not have much of a choice. They just don't want to give too much space to the Night Sharks, and we see them getting picked as they're going forward, but it's still a 2v2 situation between both teams. If Firefin couches can hold for their respawns, and never mind, we see them going down. Hoken's Tint finding a pick, almost finding a second, and they do find the second going down in mid, but that was a worthy trade. It looks like Night Sharks is rolling back out, putting the pressure back on.
Able to find 2 picks here for Sandy on the side of MSU. Going in for the Rainmaker, pops out that Booyah Bomb, throwing it at the Rainmaker, finds the pick there, but they need to play for control and need to play to play aggressive. Hoken able to find the pick there, ends up trading in the long run, but MSU needs to find a way to move up. Nifty's hiding in the corner, able able to find the pick onto Nifty. MSU needs to find a way to push up. They need to find the talent. They need to find the leader, and don't let those dualies get crabbed. Here comes this Zipcaster from Hoken, zoning out the leader as much as they can. Or that was Nick, actually, not Hoken. Hoken on that Tenebrella, finding a pick there. Rainmaker pushing up, and that's going to be a wipe on the side of MSU.
10 seconds left on the clock too. It looks like Night Sharks not actually opting to camp. Nope, they are opting to camp in the corner on that bat. Firefin Couch is going to have a hard time touching that Rainmaker, but Nick comes in and the Stamper doesn't care. It's like, vacuum what vacuum? I'm going to hit you in the face anyway. They get 3 down on Night Sharks and they're using their specials. They're getting back set up. Back for another push, but unfortunately all their specials going down early, and the dualies on Night Sharks going around the back, sneaking around the back, finding the pick on that Rainmaker. And that is game 7 of the set going to Night Sharks.
Yeah, they're just always able to find a way to get a big push and explode out when they need to, and then hold their space when they need to as well. That's the biggest thing about these really strong teams in Division 1, able to get that space and hold it.
Definitely, we saw how hard it was for Firefin to break past Night Sharks, especially when they got their specials going off. They were locking that space down. Wait, was I wrong? Is there one more game after that?
Yeah, this is going to be our game 7 right here.
Okay. My bad.
Well, we love another game, don't we?
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
More games to watch. I'm excited.
Yeah. And Night Sharks are just proving their dominance right now. That's the biggest thing. They're just showing a lot of dominance, and they're able to hold their control where they need to be. Yeah, their result in entrance exam might have come up a little bit weak, but they're proving themselves now where it matters here.
Definitely. I mean, if you're MSU, you aren't, it might not affect your score in the set, or it might not affect the outcome of the set, but you're still not going to want to walk away empty-handed like that, especially considering this was a rematch where, last time you played this set, MSU, Firefin Couches, they won. So if they walk away empty-handed tonight, that's going to be a sting to their ego for sure.
Yeah, and it's just, they need to be able to find the control. MSU needs to find the control, hold that control, move up, hold another space of control. They're just unable to get the move up part, and when they do, they're just unable to get control.
Definitely. If I had to pinpoint one thing, I would say that I would like to see MSU play a little more conservatively with their specials. We saw sometimes they were popping them off a little early, and they got mileage out of them, but not quite as much mileage as they could have gotten if they waited until they were deeper into the push. Now, we'll see going into this final game here, Hoken on the Tenebrella again, and Toast pulling out the Nova, and Nifty pulling out the Tetras. That's not a comp we've seen out of Night Sharks yet. A lot more skirmishy, brawly than, there's a lot of chip. I don't know. That's a funky comp right there. But yeah. We see that.
Ooh.
What do we see?
We see a Brush trying to go around the backside. Toast able to find one, but Sandy's already all the way back here. Here comes the whale from Toast on the Nova, able to find the pick onto Sandy. But the idea with how you want to play with Nova is just throw those sensors and play for chip damage. That'll help out your Tetra dualies, able to move up, and the Tenebrella is to help zone out that space. Trade out in front. Tetra's able to find another. Sandy able to find the pick, finishing that battle up. Ball is going to end up going down. Let's dance a little bit, why don't we? And try to make a play. 2 power clams ready to go for the Night Sharks. Hoken able to find a pick on the Brush on the far side of the map. 2 down on the side of MSU. Army on the Charger, trying to move up and hold as much control as they possibly can. Ender pushing back. Hoken zoning out with this Tenebrella. Let's create some space here as there's a Tetra behind them.
For sure, we saw that Tin just push all of Firefin couches back into that corner on switchback. Now, oh,
The ink
the
effect!
vacuum finding a pick on 2 Firefin couches, trying to drop on Hoken. He's not going down though. He is holding his ground. Yeah, and we see that Nitruck's first push ends a little prematurely.
Throw together those clams and let's get this Kraken going. Move up, try to get some scores on the board. Here comes a jump from the shot. Kraken ends up going down. Shot's able to get the ball in, but what follow-up is there? They need to find a way to get more points in to make this push worth it. And they find 2 clams, but it's not enough for lead. Sandy trying to shark around, ends up going down to the tet, and that push is going to end right there. But there is going to be another power clam ready to go out of spawn.
Unfortunately, Firefin couches, if I had to guess, they were probably trying to get that pity in along with that first off the Kraken. But I don't know if there was a coordination error. They just couldn't get it in. Now, Night Sharks rolling right back out to mid. Specials in their favor. We see a lot of fighting going down on this right side here, and Night Sharks comes out on top. Hoken, you know, we've seen he's apparently really, really good on tin. I didn't know anybody played that weapon anymore, but I love to see it. Yeah, and Night Sharks, once again, they just really have Firefin couches locked out of that mid.
Tri-Strikes coming out here and trying to zone out as much space. Here comes a Kraken into mid, trying to find a pick onto the Tetradualies, but ends up just ignoring them. Let's go under their basket instead, try to get a jump, but no one's able to jump in time. Nick trying to build up clams, taking a 1v1, Sandy trying to back out, but they don't have any power clam ready to go. Nick is just up there all alone, trying to find as much clams as they can as everyone comes out of spawn. Ends up going down to Nifty, Sandy able to clean that up, but they still don't have any clams. Sandy finds 2 more!
Really good streak coming out of Sandy there. We saw the way they converted off of that person chasing them down flank, and then they just come right back in for a score. Unfortunately, they don't have enough teammates to follow them up on it. They're going to try and force it alone, but don't find lead again. Gosh, if I was MSU, they're really going to have to take these next pushes a little more patiently and go in a little more together. They've tried that Kraken strat twice, and unfortunately it fell short both times.
Yeah, Stamper finding the pick onto the Nova, and that's what you really want to punish. Find the Nova, lower their paint count just a little bit more. Tetra is able to find the pick onto the Stamper though, and you don't want to see that. You want to keep all your members up. Tetra's trying to make a push. Here comes the Kraken trying to take out the Vac, but ends up getting 2 off it. Hogan finds 2 off the Vac. Sandy goes down as well. It's only Ender on the shot with the power clam ready to go. Is marked for everyone on the side of Night Sharks, and they're going to make a huge push right here. Stopped by Nick, luckily.
Yeah, it looks like Ender's Tri-Strike actually also was a really huge force in keeping Night Sharks out away from that basket. We saw Night Sharks was piling their specials onto Switchback, and Ender saw that it was the perfect opportunity to throw some of his own into the middle, so that when Night Sharks was pushing up with theirs, they just got picked right off. They didn't see what was coming. Now we see that Kraken going in for another score, and if they can actually find it that time, I believe that would be lead for Firefin couches, but no, they pick off the jump, and it's going to be really hard. I don't think there's anyone by that basket anymore. I don't think Nick is going to be able to jump that in.
That's a huge stop by the Night Sharks. They see the Kraken, they go after the power clam users, stop them from jumping. So smart, just to stop anyone from scoring, and one power clam would have taken lead off that too.
Definitely. That was like touch and go for a minute there. Really close game, 7 right there. But Night Sharks coming out on top once again. But that is not to discredit any of the play we saw coming out of either teams again tonight. MSU Firefin couches certainly put up a fight. I was loving to see Sandy with that ink brush on that final game right there. The way they were skirmishing about in that last minute or so. Anything you found noteworthy about that Vapor?
Yep. The Night Sharks were able to get control and hold control. That's the biggest thing throughout this, and especially on Clam Blitz, they're able to hold that control. They force the Kraken to move up and try to find picks, but why do you need to go after the Kraken stop and jump over there, where you could just go after the power clam user and pick them off before they jump?
Definitely. That's like I was talking about earlier. That's a similar philosophy to picking off the crab user before they get that special. Simply stopping the play before they manage to get any value out of it. That was exactly what Night Sharks did when Firefin Couches was trying to dunk that last clamp. Really great bit of awareness coming out of their part.
Yeah, and on that note, I think that's going to be it for us here on Splatoon Tourney 1. There's going to be more matches following up on the Splatoon Tourney Twitch channel, which we will go raid here in a few moments. But where can the viewers find you at, Raphael?
If for whatever reason they want to come listen to me rattle off like I just did tonight, they can find me on Twitter at LRaffi. And where can they find you, Vapor?
You guys can find me over on Twitter and Twitch at V4P0R_SPL. And I also do a lot of CCA things here over at CCA. Wording's not my specialty after all, but we make things work here. Thank you all for tuning in to CCA, brought to you by Splatoon Tourney 1. We'll catch you guys next time.
We'll be right back.